Wow, what's going on?
Question: if someone visits every house in a single night, what would the breathalyzer say? Today's Santa is addicted to cookies and milk. But long ago, shamans soaked very different things in milk, and winter had a much stranger vibe because of it. If we flip back the pages, we find rituals shaped by snow, spirits, and curious mushrooms, turning the solstice into something dreamy and sometimes a little buzzed. Northern shamans traveled through visions in the dark season, and reindeer sometimes behaved as if physics was only a suggestion. And every ceremony, every sip, every red-capped mushroom hanging from a pine branch brought us closer to the figure we now call Santa Claus. Let's begin the coldest origin story of winter. Long before Santa ever appeared in stories, the indigenous peoples of Siberia were already shaping winter with traditions carved out of snow, silence, and survival. Reindeer herders, keepers of old tales, people who understood the cold better than anyone. At the center of their winter world stood the shamans, dressed in red and white, carrying drums and sacred tools. They weren't Santa, but the early outline was definitely there. And out in the forests, where the snow softened every sound, grew a strange and iconic mushroom. Bright red cap, white spots, Amanita muscaria. It looked playful, almost decorative, but its effects were something else entirely. Not the wild, psychedelic people imagine today. More like a vivid, waking dream. A sharpened, alert trance perfect for winter rituals when the nights were long and the spirit world felt close. Shamans learned how to handle it over generations. Which parts opened the mind, which parts caused trouble, how to dry it, prepare it, and guide visions safely through the dark season. And in that dim northern twilight, with red and white clothes, with reindeer at their side, with rituals meant to bring back light in the deepest cold, the very first shadow of the figure we call Santa quietly began to take shape. Before the shamans truly mastered the mushroom, there were others who tested it first. The reindeer. They found the bright red caps in the snow, chewed them happily, and within minutes, they behaved as if winter had unlocked a secret bonus level, jumping at invisible enemies, leaping high for no reason, moving in a dreamy, tipsy state where gravity felt more like a friendly suggestion than an actual law. To the shamans, this was fascinating. They watched carefully, took notes long before notebooks existed, and realized something important. The reindeer understood the mushroom in a way humans did not. So the experiments began. Raw? Too harsh. A brew? Sometimes smooth, sometimes terrible. Dried? Much gentler. Fewer stomach problems, more focus, clearer visions. But the greatest discovery was something no one expected. Reindeer urine. The active compound, muscimol, passed through the animal unchanged, while the harsher toxins were filtered out. The reindeer became a natural alchemy machine. Yes, the shamans drank it, and yes, it worked far better than it had any right to. This unlikely partnership between reindeer and shaman became one of winter's strangest innovations, a shared doorway into that dreamlike world. As the solstice approached, when the sun felt completely gone and winter settled in for real, the community began to prepare. The shamans collected the red mushrooms and hung them on pine branches to dry. They looked like odd little ornaments in the snow, but the drying was part of the ritual. It reduced nausea, softened the harsh effects, and created a clean, focused dream state, perfect for winter ceremonies. Different groups used different methods. Some brewed the mushrooms, some fermented them in milk, others stayed with the reindeer filtered version that worked almost too well. But the core experience was the same. Inside the winter tent, there was singing, drumming, and a shared vision that the whole group entered together. A collective dream space. Outside, the forest stood silent, and the drying mushrooms glowed on the branches like tiny frozen lanterns. The shaman's gift was not a toy, but protection, insight, and the promise that the long night would eventually pass. Over time, these rituals changed. Shamans began visiting homes during the solstice, carrying dried mushrooms or refined preparations as seasonal offerings. Winter had one practical problem, though. Snow blocked the door, so they entered the houses through the smoke hole in the roof. A straight drop, a controlled descent, a bag slung over the shoulder, the earliest version of the chimney visit. Combine that with the red and white clothing, the partnership with reindeer, and the role of bringing hope on the darkest night, and the figure of Santa becomes surprisingly familiar. When Christianity arrived in the northern regions, its leaders saw winter traditions that felt completely foreign to them. Shared dream journeys, trance rituals guided by shamans, and nights shaped by mushrooms, drums, and snow. To the bishops, this didn't look like holy ceremony. It looked unpredictable, closer to a wandering winter festival than the kind of faith they wanted to build. So many solstice customs were labeled pagan, risky, or morally unclear. But the church soon understood something crucial. These traditions were far too old, far too loved, so they chose another path. They repainted the season. The winter celebration was linked to the story of Saint Nicholas, a 4th century bishop known for quiet generosity, secret acts of charity, and absolutely no reputation for drinking reindeer-based beverages. His calm moral presence offered a tidy alternative to the shaman, and his feast day began merging with the solstice rituals already in place. Old symbols shifted meaning. The shaman's gifts became Christian gifts. Winter protection became saintly blessing. The visionary part softened, the wilder edges trimmed, but the core of the holiday stayed the same. Light returning, people gathering, and hope carrying them through the darkest night. Yet even with all this careful reframing, one figure refused to disappear.
Krampus stayed in the alpine folklore, a horned winter spirit with chains and birch rods, punishing the naughty while St. Nicholas blessed the good. The church tried to hide him, but he never disappeared. And yes, we'll return to him later.
By the Victorian era, the stories softened into gentle holiday tales. But Santa by then was already shaped by centuries of layers. Shamans, saints, reindeer, rituals, folk spirits, and everything people hoped for in the darkest season of the year. Then comes the modern era. In the 19th and 20th centuries, Santa becomes global. He becomes industrial and more photogenic every decade. Then, in the 1930s, Coca-Cola looks at a centuries-old myth and says, #not sponsored. Great story, great symbolism. But what if it sold sugary water? This is when Santa turns truly bright red, advertising friendly, smiling like someone who just received a holiday bonus. By the early 2000s, there is little shaman left and little saint. Santa is mostly a seasonal mascot now, supported by serious marketing. Yet the solstice still asks every culture the same question. How do we survive the darkness together? For Siberian shamans, the answer was shared visions. For Christian Europe, it was hope. For modern families, it is warmth and time spent together. Santa is not a single myth. He is many layers stacked together. Shamans, saints, reindeer, rituals, and mushrooms that made people a little dreamier and far less alone. The magic of winter was never supernatural. It was always about community. Here is your winter break thought. Traditions change, legends evolve, and sometimes the world's biggest holiday starts with a mushroom, a shaman, and a reindeer that really wants to fly. If you have a winter conspiracy, a historical curiosity, or a mushroom question you should definitely not try at home, leave it in the comments. Press the like charm, summon the subscribe rune, and share it with anyone who enjoys seasonal weirdness. Stay curious, stay warm, and be careful.
Krampus is on his way.